Hello, I'm Portia Young. Welcome to the February edition of 1036 here on Milwaukee PBS. A little more than 40 years ago, Milwaukee tried to end segregation in the public schools. It took years and was met with demonstrations, protests, lawsuits, and sometimes violence. While all this was swirling around them, how did it affect the children who were being desegregated? 1036's Joanne Williams met some of them to talk about what it was like to be the kids on the bus.
Not being accepted in this integration, it was just crazy for me.
Teachers treated me well, as far as I can remember, yes.
It was the first time that I had been called an Oreo. Black on the outside, white on the inside.
In the fall of 1976, busing to end segregation in Milwaukee's public schools officially began. Hundreds of black students and some white students from 3rd grade to high school boarded buses, left their neighborhoods, and ended their rides at schools far away from their homes.
So I went from Congress Elementary School to Grandview School, which is now River Trails. I do remember riding the bus.
What was it like?
It was quite a transition because I enjoyed being at my neighborhood school, and then we were on the bus, and we were on the bus with children who didn't necessarily care for us.
And what do you mean by that?
We were a little bit different. Where we lived at that time, we were the first black family in the neighborhood, so we had friends that were different races and everyone just generally got along. When we got on the bus, it was as if we were the outsiders, even though everyone on the bus was black. We were no longer like the rest of the children on the bus.
In 3rd grade, Alex Beeman's family was told he would be bused from Clark Street School to 95th Street School.
Honestly, I don't think they had any choice. Next thing you know, they told us I had to go to 95th Street School. I didn't have no idea. Nobody told me why.
Here's one reason. The Milwaukee School Board was under a court order to desegregate the schools. In 1976, attorney Lloyd Barbie and many others won a lawsuit against the school board. Barbie claimed that building new schools in predominantly black neighborhoods, changing the attendance lines that dictated which schools children had to attend, and creating a policy that encouraged white students to transfer out of their neighborhood schools equaled segregation. But Milwaukee was changing. In the 1950s and 60s and early 70s, the black population of Milwaukee was growing, and the schools in those neighborhoods were overcrowded. So in 1958, the school board came up with a way to relieve the crowding but still keep black and white students apart. It was called intact busing. While grown-ups, like members of MUSIC, Milwaukee United School Integration Committee, demonstrated to stop the buses, the children looked out the windows. Linda Pons was in 5th grade and became one of the kids on those buses.
We were only on the bus at La Follette. They transported the whole class to Garden Homes. Well, basically, you know, they informed us, parents or whatever, that we were going to be transferred, you know, during the day. So we would go to La Follette, and after we went there, we got on buses and we went to the school, Garden Homes. And we stayed with our class. Teachers were on the bus with us, and we were in a classroom by ourselves. We bought cold lunches, and we really didn't mingle with the other kids.
You took your own teachers?
Yeah, they took the whole class. We didn't meet anybody. We didn't know anybody. We just stayed with our class.
What about recess?
Well, we played with our friends. We went out for recess, but we didn't socialize with the other kids that much. I mean, if we did, it was, casual, because we had our own friends.
James Nelson is the author of Educating Milwaukee, a new book on desegregation in the city.
We also talked to somebody who was part of intact busing.
Yes.
Did you look at that, and what the heck was that?
Well, if you were to Google the term intact busing, there's only one thing that comes up, and that's Milwaukee.
Intact busing continued for hundreds of black children in the city for more than 16 years. In 1976, the court-ordered busing for desegregation began.
What was called forced busing for a lot of people. And a lot of the kids, a lot of the families felt as though they were being forced to ride a bus. So in many cases, hopefully in most cases, it was voluntary. But in other cases, if students didn't volunteer, they were volunteered. Sometimes by shutting down a school, for example, on the north side of Milwaukee, and then forcing African American children to make a decision that maybe they otherwise wouldn't have made. White children were rarely, if ever, forced to make that same decision. So most of the busing was done by African American children.
But for the students we met, it wasn't so much an issue of social justice and equality. It was just something that their families and their schools told them they had to do, and they did it. Did you at the time understand about busing for desegregation?
No. I think I knew my mom wanted a different school, a better school for us. That's pretty much all that I knew. And I liked my new school. That's all I knew. And as a kid, I was happy. So you just roll with it.
With her sister Lori, Lynn Banks went from Congress Elementary on Lincoln Creek Parkway to Grandview, now called River Trail School, on the northwest side of the city. But when she got to Burroughs Middle School, the culture clashes continued.
I think the challenge I found, again, is feeling like the other, that somehow having an integrated mix of friends was different than what maybe other kids had experienced. And it was the first time that I had been called an Oreo. Black on the outside, white on the inside.
What'd you do?
On one hand, it was just a strange concept to me, like how could you say that about me? On the other side, I had a really strong family and really great friends. So on some level, I could kind of ignore it. But deep down it hurt.
The big issue of eliminating segregation in Milwaukee schools was not on the minds of the little children who did the integrating. Mostly, they just wanted to have friends and enjoy school. With the older grades, though, becoming desegregated was sometimes harder. When Clem Richardson left Franklin Elementary School, he was assigned to Daniel Webster Middle School, a very different kind of destination.
When we get to Daniel Webster, we see a lot of white people out there protesting, and so they had signs, like, we don't want you here. When we got off the bus, I heard some white kids said, "Nick, go home." So when they did that, where I come from, you put up a shut up. And so what we did is we start fighting. Made it through that. From there, we went out even further through high school. I was bused out to Vincent High School. And so when I went to Vincent High School, we fought again. So we're fighting, not being accepted in this integration. It was just crazy for me, going to the high school and dealing with this. The teachers wasn't the problem for me. It was mainly the students and just trying to work with them.
Absolutely, it happened. There were fights at Bayview High School, for example. There were fights at Hamilton. Hamilton, on the southwest side of the city, was the whitest of the high schools. It was also the first high school on the south side to be integrated. There was at least one incident where rocks were thrown at the bus by white kids, which I'm sure was very unsettling. But one of the things the school did was hire a human relations director to try to help provide multicultural activities for the kids.
Sometimes it was a culture shock for black children from different neighborhoods riding together on the same bus.
You tried to get along. Granted, you were getting up in the morning and getting on the bus, but there were definitely things that would happen on the bus that were not normal. For instance, they would decide to have a party on the bus and not tell myself, my family, or one of the other children on the bus, and then they would just have a party in the back of the bus and leave us out of it.
How'd that make you feel?
It was a little upsetting, you know. It was kind of sad. Sad that others would treat you like that, wouldn't include you.
One time, a new child was added to our bus route. And we were the last kids on the bus before the bus went to the school. And so this new child, her initiation to get on the bus was to beat me up. So after school one day, we got off the bus and the other kids on the bus were cheering her on. And that was the goal for her to get me. Luckily, I got away and got home. And then my mother knew her mother, called her mother and had a conversation. And after that, everything was fine. But I think, again, it felt like sometimes because of where we lived, we didn't necessarily fit in with the other kids on the bus. So it was always feeling like you were in between worlds.
Well, you know, it's fascinating. It's probably better now that I hear what they had to say about it, because it's not really a discussion we've had.
This was the first time Curtis Harris had heard about what happened to his daughters on the bus. Little kids often don't say much when you ask, "How was school today?"
The philosophy we always carried out was that they had to go to school, get an education, and whatever the problems were, we had to resolve them.
I didn't understand what was going on back then, so I just thought it was just something that we had to do. I guess later on, growing up, I found out, you know, to integrate the schools, but at the time, I didn't think nothing of it.
Was it worth it?
I would say yes. It's luckily it's something that didn't last a long time. 2.5 years you went on with your life.
My friend Joanne Williams joins us now. So interesting to hear from these now adults about their experiences.
Yes, it certainly was. The reason I wanted to do this was because so much has been written about desegregation and busing, but I wanted to hear from the little kids who are put in that situation. I think now as adults they're a little stronger from their experience. It opened up their worlds. They went into different neighborhoods and went into different cultures.
And when you were reporting on this, you really got some interesting feedback.
I did. In fact, as a matter of fact, I reached out to the community via social media, and I got an email from a white student who took the city bus from Washington High School. And this is what he wrote to me. "I can only imagine how hard it had to be to start at a new school, perhaps knowing this new desegregation policy was not welcomed or popular. They were difficult times. I wasn't innocent. I have no doubt I wronged many with my inherited prejudice and bias. Hindsight being 20/20, I regret how I was, the way it was, and now understand how necessary it was."
And Joanne, I bet there are people out there with similar stories like that.
I bet there are too, and I'm sure if you have a personal story, we'd like to hear it. So leave your comment at milwaukeepbs.org/1036. Click on the contact link.
All right. Thank you, Joanne, for this incredible reporting, especially during Black History Month.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. President Trump's recent executive orders, in particular those regarding refugees and immigration, have sparked protests. And now the ongoing legal battle has created uncertainty for many members in our community. This frame of mind has prompted some local leaders and citizens to speak out and take action.
We are one! We are one! We are one!
We are the great, peaceful harbor in a tumultuous, dangerous world. That history is now under attack, and we're here to stand up against it. Trump and his allies may seek to divide us into subgroups and pick us off one by one. But today we lock arms together with our neighbors. We will avoid those darkest ends by avoiding these dark beginnings. So our call to action, today Representative Brostoff and I are introducing a resolution against Islamophobia and hate.
My name is Ahmed Qureshi. I'm the president of the Islamic Society of Milwaukee. This resolution would be a clear repudiation of anti-Muslim hate and bigotry and would send a strong message to those who seek to promote fear and division in our nation and state. Our nation is stronger when we are viewed as many cultures and traditions and faiths coming together. We are truly a nation of immigrants.
Not long ago, a woman said to me, she said, "You know, I'm scared of you people." And I said, "What is it about us that scares you?" She said, "I'm scared of you people because you want to take over our country." How are Muslims going to take over the United States? We are part of the United States.
Welcome all of you to Milwaukee Gathers in Unity for Human Dignity.
I'm seeing visible fear from people who live in our community.
It is indeed difficult for someone to fully grasp and understand the challenges that refugees face unless they have walked through it. And these are challenges that, as America, we need to be the hope and the light and the beacon to allow families and groups of people who seek freedom and seek for their human rights to pursue here in America.
My favorite president is Abraham Lincoln. He freed the slaves, so I believe President Donald Trump can do the same thing with the refugees of Central America and all other refugees.
1036 reached out to several members of the Republican Party for their frame of mind on these issues, including State Senator Leah Vukmir, whose office said she would not respond, and State Senator Alberta Darling, whose office did not get back to us with a comment. She's often referred to as an icon in North America. Others call her a gem, a jewel, and loved by many, especially among Milwaukee's Polish community. And when you meet Ada Javanovska, you just might fall in love with her too.
5, 6, 7, 8.
To the bell is attached a long rope. So the people just pull the bell and it rings. Someone is upstairs, they throw through the window that key. As long as I can climb the stairs. That is the trick.
She always completes what she wants to do, and then when she sets her mind out to it, she does it. She may go slow, but she always makes it.
Each week, Ada Javanovska laces up her well-worn Polish red dancing boots and makes it to a third-floor gym. And wastes no time getting ready to watch what she so dearly loves.
I mainly go because the joy of music and dancing.
The dancing involves Milwaukee's well-known Syrena Polish dance ensemble. It's here at Tamarack Waldorf School, behind St. Hedwig's Church on Milwaukee's east side,
Emily,
where rehearsal takes place for children, teens, and adults. They fall in step and in love with their Polish heritage and customs.
Polish people love to dance. Italians like to sing, and Polish people love to dance. Ram tam tarata, ram tarata rata. Good, very good. That was very good.
For years, Ada has been an instructor and the respected artistic director for the ensemble.
So in 1979, I joined Syrena. And it only took 4 weeks before Ada came to Milwaukee, and by freak of nature, her husband came from Boston College to UWM Milwaukee, and they were able to settle here, and we were able to avail ourselves of her expertise.
And then it is a nice contrast after boom. I actually even have come to Syrena as a guest teacher with my son. That's what I used to do. That I taught either performing groups or recreational groups, which is different. So they knew me. Immediately I became their leader, their teacher.
Ada has settled into more of an advisory role with the group, offering welcomed advice to choreographer Dwayne Tomka and the other instructors.
But will the Cuyahoga #1 be done?
She has a very passionate way of explaining what went wrong and what could be improved.
The person who does not dance, the girl, she does this. Pa, 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 because she is impatient. When is he going to come and dance with me?
And she also has a very good way of even demonstrating at her age.
Oh yes, her age. Pani Ada, Polish for lady or madam, as she's respectfully addressed, just became a centenarian.
I just can't believe that I lived for 100 years, and I think about history, what has various things that has happened, and that I lived through them.
Dancing is one of the best ways to make it to 100, at least according to Ada.
The reason that I am so healthy is because of the dance, because the dance uses three important elements in you. First, you have to practice your memory. You have to use your memory. Then music makes me very happy. I really feel it in the heart. You know, anybody who likes music, it does lift your heart. And then, of course, the physical, you know, because Polish dancing is quite vigorous. Physically, it's very healthy.
Her secret to longevity, I think, is the wine, a little bit of wine each day.
Yes, I do buy drink Merlot before dinner. Ram ta ta ta, ram ta ta ta, ram ta ta ta, and that's called krzesanie.
Dancing and history definitely go hand in hand for Ada. Her love of Polish folk dance and culture started early.
I first learned to dance in high school. Tuesday gym class had Polish dancing, and I remember it until now. So there I learned the Polonaise.
She wants to show the Polonaise.
And I just loved it. I couldn't wait for Tuesdays and take that class. In Poland, all I had was those high school. But here I discovered that there are groups that learn dances from a country.
Each region of the country has different costuming and also different steps normally. And with these different steps come a lot of different nuances and uniqueness to them. So she's the most thing that I picked up from her is to do these regional dances with as much authenticity as possible. We like to call it the Polish encyclopedia.
They also do dances from Silesia, which is southern Poland.
And is considered, you know, one of the absolute experts in that field. And she wrote the encyclopedia on Polish folk dancing. I think that she is a gem to the Milwaukee community in general.
A lot of Krakowiak is imitating a horse. It is the most pleasant way to keep heritage going.
It's pleasant, especially for the children, who Ada hopes will continue to carry on the Polish traditions.
If I messed up a dance move, she would help me. She's just really funny. She has a nice personality. She's like, whenever you're mad or sad, she'll always like make you happy.
Syrena is like my family because, yes, some people really love me. Nice and straight, very important.
We all absolutely love Ada. She has become a part of every one of our families. I mean, she really is a family member to all of us, and she's so dear to us.
Straight arm, straight arm, straight,
She is so spunky.
Firecracker.
She's a firecracker. She's feisty, and that's a good thing to be.
We are not a group, we are a village. We are a village, we are family.
We sweat together, we get upset with each other, we have fun together, and you depend on each other a lot, not just in the dancing and on the Thursday night practices, but also outside. There's a lot of times that Paniata would just call somebody in the group or call myself and just ask if there's a favor that we could help her out with.
Really make it a contrast, smooth and fast, but straight.
Ada wants her legacy and her work with Syrena to reflect back on her beloved Poland.
Love and respect of Poland. Because through dance, that's what they get. And also, they learn about geography. The mountaineer dances, why they dance like that. Then I know I'm somebody, not just an immigrant.
1, 2, 3, and 4.
She's kind of formed my life as well, moving forward, because I have that same passion as she does, and I want to emulate that as best as she did as well.
I am 100% Polish, and I have enjoyed that, and I'm going to foster your legacy as much as I can for the rest of my life.
As for her life and celebrating her milestone birthday, Ada insists on following Polish tradition, of course.
And then we sing Stolat. May you live 100 years.
When someone turns 100, this happens.
And she survived.
Ada, thank you very much for being part of the group and sharing with us all your wonderful knowledge and appreciation for Polish culture.
By the way, that is a Polish custom. And it's done not only for birthdays, but sometimes even, members of the government are thrown up in the air. That's the Polish custom. And we carried it through. You have to have a good back. Thank you.
And the 100th birthday celebration continued at the 30th Annual Polish Ball, held at the Wisconsin Club in Milwaukee. The tribute to Ada began with a theatrical performance depicting her life and a special dance by the Syrena Dance Ensemble. Ada and her son followed by leading the Polish dance, the Polonaise. Happy 100th, Ada. Watch more of the festivities online at milwaukeepbs.org/1036. Thank you so much for watching 1036. We'll be back next month, March 23rd, with a special 1-hour live edition at 8 p.m., focusing on a growing public health concern, lead in our water and homes. Lead and our health, March 23rd at 8 p.m., right here on Milwaukee PBS. We leave you with some interesting images from above. The Cedar Creek in downtown Cedarburg, where a wall of foam bubbled over the dam and piled up when it hit the ice downstream. We'll see you next month.